मज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागररघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सागरललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। नमो ब्राह्मण देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगत हिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय ते नमः। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव की जय। रामचार्य दास श्रील। Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to start prayers of Kardaba Muni. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरु दीनदायिनं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाशकृष्टानि। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 Hare Krishna. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24 and verse 28. Okay. So this is prayers of Kardaba Muni. So who is Kardaba Muni's wife?
Deva.
Who is wife? Huh?
Aditi, na?
No.
Devahuti Mataji.
Yes, Devahuti. And who is their son? Who is the son?
Kapila Muni.
Yeah, Kapil Dev, no? Kapila Dev. So Kapila Muni. So who is he? Actually, he's Supreme Personality of God himself, right? So this was predicted already. So Krishna tells him that before he comes, right? Before the God he incarnates, he comes to this material world. Everything is properly planned, right? Even when Krishna was born, So it was by the request of Lord Brahma, and Bhumi Devi also requested Lord Brahma, and then Brahma requested Krishna to come down. Krishna says that Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So similarly here also, so is our first Manu, right? So Devahuti is son of Manu, that is Swayambhuva Manu, who is the first father of mankind. So from whom all the we all have descended, that is the human beings. So Manu is Manava, Manushya. Manushya name derived from the word Manu only, and Swayambhuva Manu is the first emperor, and which the complete earth belonged to him. So the Lord tells Manu that he has to give his daughter to the Kardaba Muni. And Kardaba Muni had though he was a devotee of the Lord, he had a request that he want to become a grihastha, right? Because in our ashramas, the 4 ashramas that we have, so there is a opportunity, like if somebody wish, after they have done proper brahmacharya life, so they can enter into a grihastha life, and then at the age of 50 they take sannyas, right? So like that, he had a desire that he want to get married, and that he had expressed. So when he had done a lot of penance, so when the Lord appeared in front of him, and he put his request that I have a desire to get married. So then the Lord fulfill his desire. So Krishna is like, whoever asks whatever, he gives him, right? Krishna awards the devotee whatever he desires for. So based on that, Krishna told Swayambhuva Manu that now you have to give your daughter Devahuti to Kardama Muni, and I am going to take birth in her womb, and I will. So what did he teach? Kapila Dev. What did he teach?
Sankhya philosophy.
Yes, he gave the Sankhya philosophy. So Sankhya philosophy basically we know it will deal with the 24 elements, right? So he gave that, and he gave that, we see that in the coming chapters, like morning in the Bhagavatam chapter. Also we have, it is on the canto 4, but we see there, okay, it just completed after Kardama Muni. Now it is Lord Shiva's, this one is going on there, right? Okay, so in the coming chapters, in the third canto only, we see like how he is going to, because once the Swayambhuva Manu, after he gave his daughter, they had 9 children. So Kardaba Muni had 9 daughters. After that only the son was born. So even he had told his wife that once I give the son to you, I am going to take sannyas. So after he leaves, so that was the Vedic thing. Like that time, people used to, at certain age, after 50, they are supposed to take sannyas. So it was like, so once he has given the boy, right? So later he leaves for meditating upon the Lord. So then he gives he explains everything, and he liberated his mother, right? So that is what Prabhupada says. So in Vedic time, women always in the protection. So when they are children, when they're child, when a girl, when she's a small girl, under the protection of father, and then when in her youth, her husband protects her, and at old age, so children should protect her. So that is the way. Okay, so we start now. So here what happens? So basically now the Kapila Deva is born, and now Kardama Muni knows that he is the Supreme Lord. So he goes to him to a secluded place. So that is what in the previous shlokas it's mentioned, that he goes there and he starts offering the prayers. So just to see the previous translation, if you see, we can see here, he says, Kardama Muni, who after a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own misdeeds. You can see here. When Kardama Muni understood that Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all demigods, Vishnu, has descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisance, and spoke as follows. So we'll see his prayers now. Several short verses. बहुजन्म विपक्वेन सम्यग् योग्य समाधिना द्रष्टुं यतन्ते यत यः शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्. Can repeat. बहुजन्म विपक्वेन
बहुजन्म विपक्वेन
सम्यग् योग समाधिना
सम्यग् योग समाधिना
द्रष्टुं यतन्ते यतयः
द्रष्टुं यतन्ते यतयः
शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्.
शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्.
बहुजन्म विपक्वेन
बहुजन्म विपक्वेन
सम्यग् योग समाधिना
सम्यग् योग समाधिना
द्रष्टुं यतन्ते यतयः
द्रष्टुं यतन्ते यतयः
शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्.
शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After many births, mature yogis by complete trance in yoga endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport is, anyone wants to read? Who wants to read?
May I read, Mother?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Purport by His Divine Grace. Translation also, Mataji.
No, you
What?
can read from purport. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Some important things are mentioned here about yoga. The word Bahu Janma Vipakvena means after many, many births of mature yoga practice. And another word, Samyak Yoga Samadhina, means by complete practice of the yoga system. Complete practice of yoga means Bhakti Yoga. Unless one comes to the point of Bhakti Yoga or surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's yoga practice is not complete. This same point is corroborated in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After many, many births, the Jnani who has matured in transcendental knowledge surrenders onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kardaba Muni repeats the same statement. After many, many years and many, many births of complete practice of yoga, one can see the lotus feet of Supreme Lord in secluded place. It is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. One has to perform yoga a long time, many, many births, to become mature, and a yogi has to practice in a secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place, and after many, many births, they become successful, provided they surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the completion of yoga. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So what is he saying in the prayer? After many births, mature yogis by complete trance in yoga endeavor in secluded place to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So which realization is this, where one is able to see the four-handed form of Vishnu? Right?
Paramatma.
Paramatma realization, right? And so in Paramatma realization, yogis meditate upon the Lord and to see only for a second, right? They only see for some time, they're able to see the Lord lotus feet. So he's saying that it's not so easy after many births. Even Bhagavad Gita also says, no? Bahunam janma namante jnanaman mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. So only after many, many life, one come to understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna says that Sa Mahatma, such a great soul is very, very rare, not easy to come to that understanding. So here also after many birth, and in yoga also, it's not so easy. So Prabhupada says, so we see that usually in yoga, the meaning have been changed in Kali Yuga, right? So everybody calls just even the physical exercises as yoga, but actually the meaning of yoga is what? Yoga means in to, I mean, there are 8 steps which is said. So union with the God. Basically, yoga is union with God. So in the Ashtanga Yoga, we see in chapter 6, right? There are so many process which has to the yogi has to go through. Especially first, he has to be away from the material world. He cannot stay in the material world with the family, right? And then do yoga or doing for yoga for 1 hour or 2 hours. So that is not the real yoga. The main purpose of yoga is to attain God. So that is the purpose, and for that very strict rules have to be followed. So we see like yama, niyama, pratyahara, no? So and he has to be the chapter 6 explains how yogi, I mean, he meditates. So he sits in a very calm place away from the family in a like forest, and he should be without any fear, no, without, if he has a fear, one cannot meditate upon Lord. So, and I mean, he is not having any material desires, so everything is away, and he tries to concentrate on the Paramatma form, and that too half eye closed, half eye open. We see in the chapter 6 how it is not so easy, right? So after hearing all the explanation by Lord, so what is Arjuna saying there in the chapter? He says that I feel that this practically very impossible, because Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Krishna says, Arjuna says there, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham anye vayoriva sudushkaram. So Krishna, how can I mean, you're saying that so much of procedure is involved in doing this yoga, Ashtanga yoga, but my mind is so disturbed. I mean, he says that what to say? By nature, the mind is fickle-minded, no? Fickle-minded, it is very strong, obstinate. He says that it is not possible to meditate upon. So what did Krishna says? Asamshayam mahabaho manodurnigram chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. So Lord says, yes, it is true, because the nature of the mind is to flicker. So even when we chant, right? So when we are chanting, also we know that how many thoughts will come. Is it how many times we hear the Hare Krishna mantra? How many of you agree, right? In when we chant, at least in one round, how many times you think we hear?
Mataji in attention.
Yeah, how much ever we try, also our mind is not staying there, right? So mind, I mean, it keeps going to other thoughts. That is why when it is recommended early morning to complete the japa, because that time we will not be having much engagements. So once the day start, we have so many things to do and people get busy. So mind is distracted with so many other distractions, thoughts, and these things. That is why it is recommended as far as possible, at least try to complete maximum during the morning, right? So actually it is said to, I mean, that is why we have a japa session in the morning where Namanishta Prabhuji he also sits, and many devotees join, and we have to complete before 7. So, but then some people who are working, they have to leave. So, but then in that case, what you can do, you can do the maximum in the morning and then complete it in the whenever you get time or during the evening. So mind is by nature, it is like that. It's not easy, but Krishna says it is possible by practice and detachment. So these two things are required. But in Bhakti Yoga, there is no requirement to separately endeavor for detachment. So we cannot say okay, I will develop some detachment and then I will start Bhakti Yoga. So that is not required. But in the other yogas, first we have to control. The control of senses, control of mind is the first basic thing for doing Ashtanga Yoga. But in Bhakti Yoga, it is not like that. However we are, whatever position we are in, one can take to Bhakti Yoga. That is why it is very easy, no? So this Kali Yuga, it is not recommended. Earlier yugas, it was okay, because this is in Satya Yuga. Okay, you can imagine this was not in Kali Yuga. This is in Satya Yuga. And Satyuga, it is starting of Satyuga, and where they are the one. From them only all the the whole planet got populated, right? So that was the instruction Krishna wanted, through great sages. And Swayambhuva Manu's daughter Devahuti, she also had 9 daughters. They were also again married to some great sages, from whom then later the progenies were to be created. So that was the so for so that yoga, that the other yogas were possible because the lifespan of the people was very long. Even in Dwapar Yuga, so what is the lifespan in Kali Yuga? Sorry, not Kali Yuga. In the Satya Yuga of a person, how many years people used to live in Satya Yuga?
100,000 years, Mataji.
Yeah, and in Dwapar Yuga? No, Treta Yuga.
10,000.
Treta Yuga.
10,000.
And then in Dwapar Yuga?
1,000, and Kali Yuga,
Yeah.
100.
Correct. It has been reducing. So where do we have so much time? No, we don't have so much time to do all this yoga, to be away from family and do it, because it's not easy. So wherever we are, sthane sita, stitigata. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says, wherever you are, like whatever position you are, like if whatever ashrama we are in, it could be brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi. So one has to do Bhakti Yoga or meditating upon Lord and do the devotional service. And Prabhupada says here that one cannot practice yoga in a city, to in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by exchange of the dollars. So this is all propaganda. So we know that there are many people who do that. They do some, they have earned maybe some siddhis, because Krishna says that there are yogis who by some meditation they get some siddhis. So by that they can misuse, and they can pose themselves as God or some and cheat the people. But the criteria has been fixed by Krishna, because whoever is God, he has to be the Shastras has to speak about them. So that is what everything, even Kapila Muni's incarnation or coming to this material world has been mentioned in Bhagavatam. So only that will show the authenticity, right? That he is the Supreme Personality of God himself. So here he is saying that after many, many years, one comes to he understands that the purpose of the life is to meditate upon Lord, right? And not to get again back to this samsara chakra, right? So he is meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are 4 ladders in the yogas, right? So far, so the easiest is said to be the Bhakti Yoga. So there are one can go through Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is the easiest and the most efficient, it is said. So Krishna is more pleased. So Krishna says, I am not pleased. So by studying of Vedas or doing austerity or doing a lot of charity, so these things, but Krishna is more pleased when one takes into devotional service. That is when one surrender himself to the Lord and engage in his service. So this is what is this sloka about. So we'll go to the next one. So verse 29. Saeva Bhagavanadya Helanam na gananyanah griheshu jato gramyanam yasvanam paksha poshanah. Can repeat. Saeva Bhagavanadya.
Saiva Bhagavanadya.
Deva Bhaganadya.
Helanam na ganyanah.
Helanam
Helanam
Nagananyanaha.
Griheshu jato gramyanam
गृहेषु जातो ग्राम्याणां
Gramyanam
यस्वानां पक्षपोषणः
यश्वानां पक्षपोषणः
Yashvanaha
स एव भगवानद्य
स एव भगवानद्य
हेलनं न गणन्यनः
हेलनं न गणन्यः
Gananyanaha
गृहेषु जातो ग्राम्याणां
गृहेषु जातो ग्राम्याणां
Yanam
यस्वानं पक्षपोषणः
यश्वानं पक्षपोषणः
Shaposhanaha.
Okay, who wants to read that? Can either raise your hand, unmute, and you can start.
May I read, Mataji?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees. Purport. Devotees are so affectionate towards the personality of Godhead that although he does not appear before those who practice yoga in a secluded place, even for many, many births, he agrees to appear in a householder's home where devotees engage in devotional service without material yoga practice. In other words, devotional service to the Lord is so easy that even a householder can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one of the members of his household, as his son, as Kardama Muni experienced. He was a householder, although a yogi, but he had the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Muni, as his son. Devotional service is such a powerful transcendental method that it surpasses all other methods of transcendental realization. The Lord therefore says that he lives neither in Vaikuntha nor in the heart of a yogi, but he lives where his pure devotees are always chanting and glorifying him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhakta Vatsala. He is never described as Jnani Vatsala or Yogi Vatsala. He is always described as Bhakta Vatsala because he is more inclined towards his devotees than towards other transcendentalists. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that only a devotee can understand him as he is. Bhaktya mam abhigyanati. One can understand me only by devotional service, not otherwise. That understanding alone is real because although Gyanis, mental speculators, can realize only the effulgence or the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yogis can realize only the partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a bhakta not only realizes him as he is, but also associates with the personality of Godhead face to face. Hare Krishna.
Correct. The translation, not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees. Basically, Krishna says, no, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthi. So there are three reasons which is told in that shloka. So what are the three reasons why Krishna comes to this material world?
to establish religion, to annihilate the demons, and to protect the devotees, Mataji.
Yeah, to protect the devotees, no? So basically, here it is mentioned that to support the devotees. So basically, whenever there is a decline in religion or when the devotees are suffering, so even the Ramalila, whatever incarnation of the Lord, if we see, it is basically to help the devotees. Only Lord comes, right? So even in when Lord Ram, so all the pastime which was made, like Ram was sent to the forest and all that, yes, there is, yes, this main KK is main reason, so we know that, but then it's all pastime of the Lord, because Krishna, the Lord knows that if that has to happen, like he has to kill all those demons in the forest, he has to go, right? If that pastime has to happen, then he has to leave home, he He has to leave the kingdom and he has to go. So the main cause of, he is Krishna, the Lord is actually, he is Dharmatma, or he is like a literal incarnation of Dharma himself. No, to protect Dharma, the Lord will appear in every yuga. So he says, Sambhavami yuge yuge. No, so every millennium I appear. So here it is said that Krishna says, there's a verse in Bhagavatam, he says, Naham tishtami vaikunte. So that is what here it was mentioned in the verse. I'll show you that verse. Yeah. Right? It says, Naham tishtami vaikunte yoginam hrudayeshu va tatra tishtami narada yatra gayanti madbhaktaha. Means, I am not in Vaikuntha nor in the heart of yogis. I remain where my devotees engage in glorifying my activities. It is to be understood that Supreme Personality of Godhead does not leave the company of devotees. So he is always there in the minds and heart of the devotees. He never leaves. So for yogis, it is only for a second. But then, because even Narada Muni also, right, when he was meditating upon Lord, only for, he was just a small boy, right? So after his mother died, he leaves, and he had got some realization because he has the Uchista of the great devotees, who stayed in this home, because he had served them in Chaturmasa. So he had that opportunity to have their leftovers, right? So by that he had got some realization through their blessings of Vaishnavas, and then he started to meditate upon Lord, and he was able to hear once he saw the Lord for a second, and then he disappeared, and the Lord said that in this life you are not able to see me again, because it's not so easy to see the Lord. But the devotees are always seeing. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Rudayeshu Vilokayanti, it said. So the Santas always they are able to see the Lord in their hearts 24 hours. So once when in Chaitanya Charitamrita we see that Advaita Prabhu, right? He was doing the Shraddha of his father, and which was like, for Shraddha you have to call so many Brahmins and many hundreds of Brahmins, and then they have to offer the food, right? So he, what did he do? So he didn't call the Brahmins. Actually, he called Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was actually born in a Mohammedan family. So Mohammedan family, and he was that is a Muslim family he was belonged to, and he considered himself to be the lowest. Though, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't see all those things, right? We know, like he gave him the position of highest position, gave him as an Amachari Haridas Thakur. He named him because he was always he used to chant 192 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, and when Haridas Thakur said that you are supposed to give to a Brahmin, why did you call me? So he says that offering to a Vaishnava like you, it is like feeding millions of thousands of Brahmanas. That is why, because always in their heart Krishna is there. So to please the Lord, you have to please the devotee. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also there, he says, न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः भविता न च मे तस्मात् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुविः. So he says there is no other person more dear than me who is preaching this divine knowledge to my devotees, whoever is giving this knowledge. So that is why Prabhupada is very dear to Krishna, right? He is giving this, he has given this supreme knowledge to all of us. Otherwise, how do we understand? No, it is not easy. How much ever we read on our own, we will not be able to understand. Many people have told this, like earlier, they attempted to read Bhagavad Gita, nothing they could understand. But then when we are connected with the Sampradaya, and through that, when we are able to hear, and by mercy of the disciplic succession, the Acharyas, previous Acharyas, we are able to understand the essence of the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it's not easy to understand. So that is why pleasing the devotees is pleasing the Lord. No? So, and Krishna says, because even he's always in their heart. One more verse which says in Bhagavad 7th chapter also, Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani notyartam aham sacha mama priyaha. So he is dear to me and I am a friend to him and he is a dear friend to me. So whoever engage in the devotional service, Krishna says that he is my, I am always there for him, right? Krishna is always there to guide, because for every one of us, the Lord is there as Paramatma in heart. So what does he do? Upadrashtanu mantacha. He's a seer and he's a fulfilling all our desires. So sometimes he will fulfill all the desires, but then even which is good or not good, but then when one takes surrenders completely to Lord, so Krishna will not fulfill the desires so easily. Because if it is not good for you, it is not good for us, he will not grant it. So if something, how do we know that something is, I should believe it, not good for me? So basically, if you're attempting for many times and then if that is not happening, so then we have to know that it is a plan. It must be a Krishna does not desire so. So even N.A.D. Prabhuji always says that when we are praying to God, because we are not on that high platform that we cannot ask anything material, right? So anything we have to ask, akama sarva kamo moksha kama udarati. So it says that Bhagavatam also, if you have desire or no desire, you always have to pray the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Sri Krishna. So we ask for material desire. So how should be our prayer? We should say that, okay, if you desire so, Krishna, right? Please give me this. You can say anything for your son or daughter or for your husband or wife, or like when we are praying. So we have to ask, like you pray, but then you mention that if you so desire. So that means Krishna will not do anything. Obviously, he will not give us if that is obstructing my devotional life or taking me away from the Lord. So such thing he will not grant it. So but so that is why it is very difficult to understand. Sometimes we may see people who are very materialistic, prospering materially, but then that does not mean that Krishna is very much pleased with them. So that is because even the material thing, Krishna says in Bhagavatam also, it is said that he is very easily, Krishna can give somebody material opulence, but very difficult to give bhakti or devotional service. So devotional service is the highest of all, and one can understand Krishna as he is only through bhakti. So bhaktya mam abhijanati. No? Yeah, it is even in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Bhaktya mam abhijanati, means only can understand me by devotional service. So the understanding alone is real, because although jnanis, all the mental speculators, these people, they meditate upon the effulgence of the Lord, or they want to get one with the Lord by becoming the Sayujya Mukti. They want to become, but then that is not pleased. So only Bhakta, they are not able to understand completely the Lord. Krishna says now, even in chapter 10, no? Name vidu suraganaha prabhavanna maharshayaha. Means not the devatas, not the sages, great sages. Nobody understands me in complete. But our devotee is able to understand. So this also says that devotional service is the highest. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. Swiyam vakyam ritam kartum avartino asime grihe chikirshur bhagavan gnanam bhaktanam manavardanaha. Okay. Swiyam vakyam ritam kartum
Shriyam vakyamritam kartum
avatirno asmi me grihe asime grihe
अवतीर्णो असि मे गृहे
गृहे
चिकीर्षुर भगवान ज्ञानम
चिकीर्षुर्भगवान् ज्ञानम्
भक्तानां मानवर्धनः.
Bhaktanam
Bhaktanam manavardhanaha.
manavardhanaha.
Sviyam vakyamrutam kartum
Swiyam vakyamritam
Swayam
kartum.
vakyam kartam vartum.
kartumavatirnosi kartumavatirno nosi me grihe. Sorry, kartum is already okay. I was seeing the top one. Okay. Avartinosi me grihe
Avartinosi me grihe.
chikirshur bhagavan jnanam
Chikeshur Bhagavan Jnanam.
bhaktanam manavardhanaha.
Bhaktanam
Bhaktanam manavardhanaha.
manavardhanaha.
Okay. Who wants to read?
Mataji, may read if nobody is reading.
Kirina Mataji is wants to. Yes, Mataji.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah.
Yeah. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Kardama Muni said, "You, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, has descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge." Perfect. When the Lord appeared before Kardama Muni after his mature yoga practice, he promised that he would become Kardama's son. He descended as the son of Kardama Muni in order to fulfill that promise. Another purpose of his appearance is Chikirsur Bhagavan Jnanam, to distribute knowledge. Therefore, he is called Bhaktana Manavardhanaha, he who increases the honor of his devotees. By distributing Sankhya, he would increase the honor of the devotee. Therefore, Sankhya philosophy is not dry mental speculation. Sankhya philosophy means devotional service. So how could the honor of the devotees be increased unless Sankhya were meant for devotional service? Devotees are not interested in speculative knowledge. Therefore, the Sankhya enunciated by Kapila Muni is meant to establish one firmly in devotional service. Real knowledge and real liberation is to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in devotional service. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So there's another Sankhya which was given by Kapila, that was Mayavadi Kapila. That's not so, but in Bhagavatam what we see is incarnation of the Lord is Kapila Muni. So this is actually aiming for devotional service. So that's what Prabhupada gives here in the purport. Sankhya philosophy. So it because usually otherwise the Mayavadis what we see, they are only interested in the 24 elements, no, which we see in that 5 karmendriya, gnanendriya, right? What are the 24 elements? What are the 24 elements which we read in chapter 13, right? Yes, what are the 24 elements? You can attempt like at least 5, whoever knows. What are the 24 elements?
Mataji, earth, water, fire, air, ether.
Earth, water, fire, air, and ether.
Mind, intelligence,
Yes.
false ego.
Yes. Mind, false ego, intelligence. So this became 8, right? So 5 earthly element. Yeah, okay. Mind, intelligence, and what are the others?
5 working senses, vision, touch, smell, taste, and
yeah. So hand,
hearing.
no, working senses are this, no? Hands, legs, no, yeah. Hands, legs, genitals, and the mouth will come in that, and
eyes and ears.
no, eyes and ears won't come. That that and all sensory organs, right? So there are others, like with eyes we see, right? So 5 senses will come: eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and touch. So with the eyes you see, so that is Jnanendriya. So with the eyes we see, with the ear you hear, with the nose we smell, with the mouth you taste, and with the skin it is touch. So then there is a what is that? Three, that false ego, false ego is said, right? So the three modes of material nature, that is called as the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So the false ego actually it represents the three modes of material nature, which is in unmanifested state. So that is there. And then there is a soul and super soul, right? So basically the Sankhya does not cover the soul and super soul. They're only interested in the five material elements and then the Karmendriya, Jnanendriya. But they're not touching the super soul thing. But then here in Sankhya, Prabhupada says that he actually, Kapila Muni, he has not given the just speculation, but he has given the devotional service, right? Which is Sankhya was meant for devotional attaining, because even in the 13th chapter we see, like in the Bhagavad Gita also, it is said the confidential part is in the 6th to 12th chapter. So if 12th chapter, everything we have learned on Bhakti, then why is that we have to again learn about Prakriti, Purusha and these things? They're like, because it is called knowledge chapters, no? Jnana chapters from 13 to 18. So there Prabhupada gives that the main intention of studying the Jnana is also to get Bhakti only. So Bhakti is the main goal. So knowing the Jnana does not mean that that is the Jnana is highest, but Bhakti is only the highest. But to reach that, one has to attain. So when we know knowledge, when we get more and more knowledge about the Lord, so only through that one can develop that love, right? So so for that we need to know the knowledge. And it is said that what is the real knowledge? Bhagavad Gita says in chapter 13, it's explained, amanitvam adambitvam, no? Amanitvam, so without pride. Amanitvam adambitvam, humility without pride. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam. So one should be ahimsa, like no violence, no? Violence means, Prabhupada speaks about, there are three kind of violence. Physical violence, one is on physical level, harming someone physically, and one is on mental level, right? Somebody, with mind or with the abusive words harming someone, right? That will hurt them, right? Mentally hurting someone, that is on physical, mental level. And then on spiritual level means when we are not we are not concentrating on the like self-realization, or the we are not giving something. I mean, we are not taking into devotional service. That is like killer of the killing. I mean, we are a killer of the soul. No, it is said. Ishopanishad says that Atmaha. Atmaha means one who is not seeing his own self-interest. That is Atmaha, means who is not interested in his own self-interest, which is to take to devotional service. Otherwise, what will happen? We keep on taking many life after life and different, yonis, or like in different species, right? There's no end. So these things, so the spiritual guidance, even when we know, so that is called as violence. So those are the violence which Bhagavad Gita speak. Kshantir Arjavam. So there is a simplicity. So, and Arjavam is the simplicity. Shanti is tolerance. One has to be very tolerant. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, right? Trunadapi sunichena tarurapi saishtuna. So one has to be very tolerant in devotional service. So if we are in a disturbed condition, one cannot chant or the holy name of the Lord. So there are so many things. So Bhagavad Gita says that amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyam pasanam pausham. So acharyam, one has to take a surrender of a spiritual master. One has to surrender to a spiritual master. So there are so many other things which explains there, and it is said that only these are real jnana. Eta jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yedatonyata. Krishna says that only these are the real knowledge. So whatever we learn in material world or in the schools and college, that is not the real knowledge. So the real knowledge is to become how one can become humble, how one can become, without pride, no, pridelessness. So these are the real knowledge. So this we can only get from this knowledge is given in Bhagavad Gita. So this knowledge also is by when we get all this knowledge, it can make us more near to God, right? So when a person becomes more humble, so in that condition, even Krishna is pleased. So he is very, and he is not hurting any even animal or any bird. So we see that when a devotee engaged in the devotional service or taking the name of the Lord, it itself purifies him. Like just like when the Mrigari, right? In Mrigari case, we see how he became such a, after chanting the name, he becomes so purified. The name of the Lord purified so much that he was not even want to step on a ant, no, because he was able to see the soul there, the life. He didn't want it to obstruct. Prabhupada says that if we are eating, killing an animal and eating non-veg, right? So what will happen? We are obstructing the evolutionary cycle of that particular species. So it has to, again, if for example, if a hen is killed, right, and the person eats it, make a dish out of it and eat, what will happen? That his karma is not over for that animal, right? So it has to again get born that in that species, and it has to go through that. So we are like violence, no? It is a spiritual violence we are causing to another animal. So these all jnana, right? All this jnana is one gets when all this is given in detail in Bhagavad Gita from 13th chapter to 18th chapter we see. So basically the Sankhya philosophy is also means that one gets the knowledge more about functioning of the soul and how we are related with Paramatma, right? So these things Sankhya will explain, and through Bhakti, right? So it also says that Bhakti is the highest goal that one has to achieve. That is the purpose of Bhakti is also to attain the Lord, right? Real love. To one should get the true love for God. So it said here, real knowledge and real liberation is to surrender onto Supreme Personality and engage. So real knowledge means surrender to the Lord. That is the real knowledge. So if somebody says that I am understood everything Bhagavad Gita and he has not surrendered or he has not taken into devotional service, that does not mean that he has really understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And real liberation means, it is said, engage in the devotional service, not that becoming one with the Lord or getting other lokas like that. Not aspiring anything but to engage in devotional service. So I think maybe we can stop here. We have another 3 left. Maybe we can complete in the next class. Okay. Any questions you have? Anyone? Today Neha Mataji has not come, no? I couldn't. Let me see if I have that attendance form. I think I have the attendance form. Let me check, okay? By the time, if anyone of you have any question, you may ask. Or no questions? Okay, then we can close if there are no questions. I think I don't think I have the link. पांचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नामचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for such a nice class.
Thank you. Hare
Pranam,
Krishna.
Mataji.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, can we chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra?
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Tomorrow is Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, and we have to fast till 12 noon. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.